Carolyn Doobie here. What's the play for today? Well, today I am going to be letting go of control. Now, letting go of control is a great way to get yourself into a playful mood. It's a great way to have fun because, well, you're not in control of it. You're along for the ride. But actually letting go of control, that's the hard part. And one of the things that I will do to help myself let go of control is by not seeing what I'm doing. I'm actually going to do it blindfolded, so I can't see a thing as I'm making this. What that means is there's no stress and pressure because I can't see what I'm doing, so there's no pressure that it's got to be perfect, it's got to be right, so I can totally let myself go and play and get a start to an art journal page. Now, how am I going to make sure that I can't see anything? I have a blindfold. I have got folded over a bunch of white cloth here that I had in the studio, and I am just going to put it on, tie it around, and I actually won't be able to see a thing until I take it off. Well, here are the supplies I'm going to be using, and I can still see what I'm doing because I've got to get my area set up. If I can't see what I'm doing, where I place things is a big deal. I've got some stencils here from StencilGirl Products, and I've just got an assortment of them. I'm going to set those right off on that side so I know that my left hand can easily grab them. These distress crayons, those I'm just going to set right here in that space because I can just reach down and grab one. And then the fine liner that is filled with black ink, I'm going to set that off to the side because I can reach it over there. Now the paints that I'm using are from U.S. ArtQuest, and as I'm putting these out, I want to make sure that I put enough paint out for me because when I've done this before, if I just put a little bit of paint on there, I actually have a hard time getting the brush into it, or my finger, or whatever else I'm going to use. Now every time I do this technique for letting go of control, I'm just in awe of how artists that have really limited vision are able to do what they do, because you're about to see that it is not pretty when I'm doing this without my sight. Now I've put those two colors up there, and then I'm actually going to position the next two colors down a little bit lower because what I found is I can't remember where the colors are no matter how hard I try. I've got to have something tactile that can remind me where they are. And brushes also roll, so I'm going to position my paint jar, tubes, cans, whatever we call these things, tongue-tied now, and that's going to also help me. You'll see how the positioning of this helps me know that I'm in the neighborhood of the color I'm trying to get. And to help me smear around some of the colors, I'm going to use the very fancy baby wipes, and those will be set off to the side so that I can grab them when I need them. So now it's time for me to put my blindfold on, and when I come back, I won't be able to see a single thing that I'm doing. I will just have to do this all by touch and feel. Well, here I am with the blindfold on. My husband came down and took the photo for me, and he was a little bit nervous that I might actually expect him to get on camera and do this art journal page too. But I assured him, nope, he's done his one page on video. He's safe for a little while, and I'm definitely not going to make him do it blindfolded. Now, if you haven't seen the video where he makes his first art journal page, I'll have a link down below for you, and you can get a chuckle out of that one. You might get 2 chuckles out of it. Now that I'm not using my eyes to help me find anything, I've kind of got to get myself acclimated here to this space, even though I was just looking at it, by getting a sense of where everything is in relation to each other. So I've kind of found my supplies, I know where my art journal is here, and I'm going to start out with some paint. Now, this all sounds like a great plan, except I can't find the paint. So I keep testing it on my hand to see if I've actually touched any paint yet, to see if there's any on the brush, and now I'm having to resort to trying to use my fingers to see if I can find stuff. I still can't get this brush in the paint, and I am just right there. Well, my fingers managed to find it, so I've grabbed some paint, and I am now just putting some shapes on here. And I gotta tell you, at this point, I'm feeling pretty accomplished if I've drawn a circle, because I really don't have much control over what I'm doing at all. So I want to switch colors and go with more of the warm colors, and now I've got to find the paint again. I know it's in the lower part, the 2 brushes on the side, but now I got to find where that paint is. So I'm going to use the bottles that I put there to help me. That gave me a reference point for where there was probably going to be paint. Tested that yes, I actually did get the brush into paint, and now I am going to start drawing some more circles. Why am I doing circles? Because that's really all about my skill set can do for me here when I'm blindfolded. Even more respect for artists who, without seeing things, can actually draw recognizable things. Because for me, I feel that if I actually get something round that looks like a circle, I'm going to consider that a big accomplishment for this play. Well, finding the paint was a hard thing for me, and now what I'm finding is I don't know where I've already done stuff on the page. So unless it's a bunch of wet paint that I can feel, I have no idea where I've actually even put the paint on this thing. Well, I think I know what stencil this is, and I'm going to use the distress crayons with it. So I'm just going to scribble them right on there and then grab the baby wipe and kind of rub it around. And of course, you're noticing the precision with which I am doing this, the concentration, the memory that I have, that I know exactly where everything has been placed on this page. Yeah, and if you're buying that, have I got some bridges to sell you? I can't remember where I've done anything on this, let alone what color I did it with. I'm still feeling pretty accomplished if I can actually find the paint and put the brush in it. What this allows me to do, though, is absolutely let go of control. There is no pressure with this. I mean, if I don't get this quote right or quote good, it's not my fault. I couldn't see what I was doing, and I'm having a blast doing it. It's absolutely freeing and fun to just completely let go of control in my art journal. Now I'm going to use a fine liner to get some scribble journaling in here, and using the fine liner part, that was really easy. The hard part was putting the cap back on without being able to see it, to have to do it by touch. And once I get the cap back on this fine liner, then I am actually going to take my blindfold off and see what I've created. Well, I gave this a few minutes to dry, and it's still not completely dry. The parts with lots of paint, well, they're still kind of wet. But I'm not going to wait that long. I'm pretty impatient, and I'm just going to stencil right over it. And you'll see where that becomes an issue in a moment. Now, I've got some black fluid paint there. This is also from the U.S. Art Quest line. And with this, when I'm stenciling, if I want a very clean, crisp look, the trick is to just have a very small amount of paint on the sponge. That way it's not too wet or runny and going underneath the stencil. Now, as I'm doing this, you may notice some areas where it doesn't seem to cover quite as well. That's because when you stencil on top of wet paint, it doesn't stick to wet paint. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on something wet. It just doesn't work. So I'm going to keep coming back over some of those areas where there's a lot of wet paint to try and get them to darken up a little bit. And I chose this stencil, the Opera House one that I designed for StencilGirl Products, because I wanted a strong, bold image over here. Now I can stop adding things to my art journal page here anytime that I want, but the truth is I'm having way too much fun doing this and I don't want to stop. So I'm going to use the fact that I have a whole bunch of paint over there as an excuse as to why I just have to keep playing and adding more stuff to it. And really, between us, that's my scam to keep that left side of my brain that wants to be in control, wants a plan. That part of me just is so peaceful and quiet and goes, you're right, we don't want to waste paint, so you go ahead and keep playing. And that way I can really keep that voice awfully quiet while I just go back to having fun and playing. Now, it wasn't always easy for me to let go and play like this. I had to rediscover how to do it. I mean, I knew how as a kid, but pretty much lost that as an adult. And I'm sharing some very specific ways that helped me rediscover how to play here in these Let's Play videos. And if you want to go deeper with play, I've got a free workshop called Permission to Play. And you can find that over on the blog at acolorfuljourney.com. And I have to say, putting the cap onto one of those fine liner tubes is so much easier when I get to use my eyes too. And that white space up there, that's an opportunity for play. I'm not going to pass that up. But I did notice I have a whole lot of paint on this stencil, so I'm going to wipe a little bit of it off with that baby wipe, and then I'm going to bring in the distress crayon and just kind of rub it right around there. A stencil that I'm using right now is called Rectangular Patterns for Play, and that's also from StencilGirl. And the nice thing about this stencil is you can use it as one big stencil, but you can also pull out the little patterns and parts of it. So there are 4 different patterns on here that I can pull from, so it looks like I've got all this variation, when really you and I both know it was just one stencil that made all those patterns on here. Well, thanks for joining me for today's Play in the Art Journal. If you've been enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you know somebody that you think would like a little more play in their day, I'd so appreciate it if you shared this video with them. And if you want some more play, head on over to the blog at acolorfuljourney.com, where I've got blog post videos, all sorts of stuff waiting for you over there. Thanks so much for letting me be a part of your colorful journey.